It's a podcast from Steam Powered Giraffe. It's the Bennettarium. We got Chelsea, Bunny, David on the podcast today. It's the Bennettarium. Oh girl, it's the Bennettarium, and it's starting right now.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bennettarium.
Now.
Thank you.
I put this on first, so now I have to take that up.
I am host Isabella Bunny Bennett, and I play Rabbit. Rabbit the Rabbit.
I'm the first host, David Bennett, and I play the spy.
Your water bottle's like huge in the video.
and Chelsea is host A, and she plays.
Hi, I'm a Walter worker with Steam Powered Giraffe.
That's not funny.
What?
So my voice is a little haggard today. There's a really uninteresting story about why.
Tell us
Let's
why.
get right into it. Let's get right into it.
So I host I host Warhammer Night at Eddie's Games for my poly group, and Thursdays are not a good night because there's geek trivia and it's very loud, and all we had was new hobbyists, so I basically had to explain Warhammer and show my models and basically speak by yelling. They enjoyed it, I guess they said, but it was just
So loud.
It was so loud, so I'm gonna move it to Mondays. But
Well,
yeah.
Was that the first time?
Yeah, they had a lot of fun, so
Cool.
now I just gotta get my voice back.
I'd love to play some Warhammer, but I haven't even found time for video games, so I hope you know what comes first.
Warhammer. Hey, we'll be the store will be open Sunday and Saturday this weekend.
Yeah.
You should stop by, learn the ropes.
But I could play video games.
You could play video games when you get home.
I'm not gonna. Okay, well, whatever. Anyways, welcome to the podcast. I'm host.
We already introduced ourselves. Now let's get on to the SPG roleplay or whatever. Wait, we're not going to do that without
Hi,
Brian.
my name's a Spine, and I'm having a great adventure.
No, we're not going to do that.
I mean, that's what people really want.
We need Brian.
Like, if you dig into the comments, the rest of the podcast, no one wants that.
I listen to it just to hear the sound of my own voice.
I guess I'm in the minority.
It rocks me to sleep at night.
What?
I don't okay, so I listen to Harmontown, and I know they always say their fans everyone's the most popular part of their podcast is when they all play D&D at the end, and that's when I tune out.
Well, I mean, we cannot enjoy listening to something like that, but that's the mass populace. I mean, that's what makes those podcasts
That was a good
popular.
game, remember? Populous? The second one? It was pretty fun.
Did I say populace?
The mass populace.
The populace.
Populace is
Wait, that's a
pretty
word.
great.
I don't know why I'm like...
That's where you're you have those little planets, right? And you're the
Yeah.
little chick with the mask.
I don't think they ever made a sequel. They
But
should,
that
No, the
makes
one that we
sense.
liked was actually the
Oh,
sequel.
you're right. The first one was
crummier.
crummier graphics.
But it makes sense why people like that part of your
yeah,
podcast.
of course. But I mean, I wouldn't say we don't like it. It's just.
I know a game we could play.
Okay.
Let's do what do they call it? It's like you start with a story and then
But it
you
has to be
continue
Steam Powered Giraffe related,
Mhm.
right?
No, it doesn't.
Why?
This is the Bennettarium.
Isn't that what people want?
All right, I'll start, and then we'll
Robots?
go circle, and you got to continue the story until it ends,
Okay.
and no ending it on your first turn.
Okay.
All right. There once was a clown named McJiggers, and he loved to do a little jig, and he would jig all around town, and go find all the children and jig for them.
I don't
Bunny has to point to someone, right?
Oh. And secretly he was very sad.
That's not. Come on, I gave 3 or 4 sentences.
I don't know. I don't like these
Fine,
games.
point it to me when you're done.
I don't want to play.
So he hired a therapist through his medical insurance company, but they had a long waiting line. He wouldn't be able to see a therapist for months, so they had a separate program called PsyCare, and they had to go and they could go through third-party psychiatrists. And then he went to his first meeting, and it was okay. But then every meeting after that, his insurance covered less and less for some stupid reason. And he ended up paying $100 a session. And you're like, well, what's the point? I can go pay $100 without insurance out of my own pocket at a different one. And
and then he decided that he was really a woman at heart. So, he took 2 or 3 years of therapy and got the paperwork signed so he could see an endocrinologist to start hormone replacement therapy. And then once he did, she changed her endocrinologist and had to prove that
that's problematic
that the court
story.
that the court order the court order was not enough proof that she had transitioned, and she ended up fighting it. And this is basically just about me now. There was a spaceship that picked her up and took her to Clowntown.
The end. Cool. Well, hope that's what you wanted, ladies and gents.
Just our little experiences with the psychiatric psychology field of medicine.
So let's catch up on Steam Powered Giraffe. We just got back from one show in Lockport, Illinois. It was the Great Midwestern Ballyhoo Steampunk Weekend.
It was really hot.
It's not called the Ballyhoo. It's called the Ballyhoo.
Oh, okay.
If you don't say it like that.
Yeah, I stand corrected. And it's part of their Summer's Arts Festival series there in Lockport, and the mayor puts it on. This was just one of the weekends. This weekend was a steampunk one at the Great Midwestern Ballyhoo.
There you go. Yay.
And we performed a concert. It was well over 90 degrees. It probably cooled off in the high 70s by the very tail end, but that was about 1 a.m. in the morning.
I got sweat in my eyes again for the umpteenth time. And
it was pretty bad this time, though.
No, I've had worse.
Okay. Well.
It was still bad.
But yeah, we had a good time. We did photos with some folks who bought some photo packages. Weird photo cube that was blistering hot inside. Even though it was air conditioned in that room, that photo cube was pretty hot.
After every photo, you guys would run out.
You get 3
and
photos
catch your breath.
and a minimum of 5 people in there at a time.
Wow.
And it was. I don't know.
It stank in there.
And you're like, wait, why do we need it? Couldn't you just have a white backdrop and let it be open air? Why
no, it's the photo
I know.
cube.
It was cool, but they need to put an air conditioner in there. Anyways, so we did that, and then we got to do a meet and greet with the VIP folks who also got a dinner and stuff. It was pretty swanky. Like you got the air conditioned room that you could stay in all day, so it was pricey, but general admission had to use porta potties, but that's what you get when you yeah, so we chatted with VIPs, then we did the show, and then we stayed after for 2 hours about sign autographs.
Yeah. This was our second year in Lockport.
It was fun,
except for the heat.
The heat was it wasn't as hot last year.
Oh,
springtime, but the summer equinox just ended,
hot.
so yeah. And that's all that happened since last podcast.
Yeah, not much.
As far as Steam Powered Giraffe goes.
So David and I saw Kingsman 2, so I haven't heard what you thought about it.
Technically, it's called Kingsman
The Golden Circle.
And is it called The Kingsman?
No,
that would be 2 Thes then. The Kingsman, The Golden Circle.
See, so I personally, I liked it. I thought it was more of the church scene just all the time, and that was really fun.
There was 3 of those,
it was, and they were all really well done, and the CG wasn't that bad.
No,
I thought all the robots and stuff were actually really, really well done, except for the meat grinder scene where the guy died. I just thought that looked really fake.
Yeah, I was like, there'd be a lot more blood, but I guess it's the ratings and stuff.
Maybe.
Yeah,
and then the last scene where they show the actual
I don't want to spoil
gears,
anything,
it's it looked so CG and fake, but whatever.
But other than that, I mean, it's more of, I think, what people liked about the first one. So
it upped its ante. It's
crazy. Not Shakespeare. You're not going there to watch Shakespeare. But as far as spy movie goes, it's pretty campy, and it's campy. I mean, it's supposed to be cool and campy, and I think that's what the movie does. It's stylish too. It's a very stylish movie. like you see those fight scenes and you're like, yeah, that's like that one part in the first Kingsman movie. Now it's like almost the whole movie is kind of like that, which might not be everyone's cup of tea. Maybe some people like the boring talking parts, but no.
That opening fight scene was pretty awesome.
Yeah, some people are like, oh, so much CG. And I'm like, what? Yeah, because that's how else are you gonna do it?
And Merlin's scene, the one. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's all good.
Amazing.
There's I don't know.
So many great moments.
It's a movie that it's not gonna get the praise it deserves.
Why was Channing Tatum on the poster and his character was literally like a side? It was a good movie. I liked that.
Well, yeah, I don't want to spoil anything in case you're going to see it. But yeah, anyone out there in Radioland. This isn't Radioland. Radio's dead.
What I like is that it's sending. Same with the first one. It sends up the spy movie genre. Like I think people like if you go into it knowing it's not really a spoof, but it's like an homage.
Yeah, because it's not tongue in cheek all the time. It like the characters.
It sends up
serious.
The tropes. It like right at the beginning they throw out everything out the window. Like they change everything. Like the same with the.
We're catching you on camera.
Same with the first one. It's just like they take all these tropes and they just say, okay, we're gonna mix them all up, and it's pretty great. I always like the villains because they're really over the top, but also they're not stupid. Like
yeah,
they actually have and depending on your perspective, their goals could be, they're not treated like just evil maniacs.
Yeah, they have like an end goal that kind of makes sense, and I guess in their characters. And the characters, as far as in these first two, the villains are like they're characters. They're not boring villains. I mean, the first one has Samuel L. Jackson. That's like, and he has that voice it's great. They're characters.
Yeah, it's over the top, but at the same time, I don't know. It seems relevant, I guess.
I know. I mean, those movies aren't for everyone. I think the first one is probably it feels a little more serious just because those fight scenes are not as like through the whole movie, but like at the end and in the middle, like that's when that movie takes off. Not that the beginning is bad, but it's like it goes from like normal to like over the top.
I like the story in the first one. I like the origin. It's done really well.
But this one's like over the top the whole way through.
They had so much more of a budget, and you can tell.
Oh yeah.
Like those sequences that they created are amazing. Like the CG just doesn't show. Like most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you're looking at it, you're like, will this age in 10 years? And you go back and you look at other movies that were using like the Blade movies. Like, of course, those don't hold up at all, the CG. But or even the Matrix movies. That's even when you saw them, you're like, oh, this doesn't look great. But at the time, you hadn't seen anything like it. But now, you can kind of suspend disbelief more because the CG.
I feel they did a good job.
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly could not. Most of the stuff I couldn't tell what was CG and what wasn't, and that's a good sign.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll just get more like that. But I mean, it's CG because when you see something that's like, there's no way they filmed this. Especially the stuff where it like passes through glass and stuff. It's
right.
Like,
it's an art. It feels like art.
It feels like art.
It's it was fun, and the soundtrack is amazing.
Not that we have someone sitting here saying the opposite of not why they don't like it or something, but I imagine it's because there's too much CG or something, or it's too action packed the whole way through or something.
Well, I think we were fans of the first one. It caught us by surprise.
Yeah, I like them for different reasons, but
I think they could do a third one. Honestly, they could. There's still more that they could do in the universe.
The only reviews I saw that were like negative, it spoke like they all said like most of them spoke as if the movie was like now it's not serious or something. I'm like, I don't remember the first one. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right,
I can't believe they did this. Like, that's so like what a plot hole. I'm like, come on, it's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be Shakespeare. But whatever, anyways. People can like and dislike what they
I haven't seen Ninjago, but that looked good.
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either.
I mean, maybe it'll be good, but I felt like
Batman was pretty decent.
It was pretty good. Nothing will beat the first Lego movie, though. I think that one... Maybe that was because it was such a surprise. I haven't seen it any more time recently or anything, but Batman's good, too. It's just a different type of movie.
Yeah.
But I like both of them. Any other movies? See anything?
I haven't really seen a lot of movies.
We talked about BoJack last time.
Yeah, BoJack was amazing.
What did we finish?
Oh, gosh. I started Star Trek Discovery, and I started The Orville.
Oh, I haven't seen any of those.
I really like the Klingons in Discovery. Their culture is so much more interesting, and I like it. I really like it. I like the performances. So the first 2 episodes are more like a prologue. So the third episode, which I don't think has come out yet, is would be when the series actually starts. I like Doug Jones' performance. He's great. It's good to see him like taking a major role.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything. I've only heard, and I guess it's still not Star Trek apparently, according to most people. But
I don't know. I
don't really know. Maybe
all I've heard from people who are huge fans of all the other Star Trek series, including the one that no one likes, Enterprise. From someone who likes all the previous ones, they were extremely disappointed with it. But that's just one opinion.
I've heard some.
It was Camille, right?
Yes.
I've heard some Trekkies say...
Well, I trust her opinion because we like all the Star Trek series that have come before this one, and I haven't seen it yet, but she didn't really have much good to say about it.
I like Generations.
I mean,
Star Trek. It's not Generations. Generations. Like Star Trek Generations.
Next Generation with Picard.
Generations.
Generations is one of the movies.
Oh, okay, that's probably.
I want to go back and start watching all the old series because I missed a lot of that stuff. But I would say like the way that those 2 episodes are set up is it's very conflict oriented. I mean, they
I think that might be one of the reasons she didn't like it.
It's kind of like it sets the background because it takes place during a civil war or whatever with the Klingons, and it's like a turning point in the history. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with it.
It's once again, this is all one person's opinion, but I think it's because we know the foregone conclusion of they make peace with the Klingons that the conflict isn't very interesting. I
would have preferred like maybe an expansion on the. But anyways, it looks really good, and also, but so the Orville is Seth MacFarlane's new show.
That? I haven't heard of that.
It's both. I mean, so it looks like it's a spoof of Star Trek, but it's more than that.
Yeah, I've watched like 3 episodes, I think, and I was surprised. It is not. It has that humor, but it's actually like. I don't like Seth MacFarlane like ever since all his transgender jokes and shit, but it was actually really good.
Wait,
like,
what channel is this on?
This is Fox too.
So you can watch it on Hulu. Maybe.
I think that's where I'm watching it. Yeah, Hulu. Yeah, I'm watching it on Hulu. Yeah, I totally watch it. It's like the score is really good. The CG is pretty good. The ship design looks like a maxi pad, but it's still like everything's. It doesn't treat it like a spoof. It treats it like this is just our
show or something.
And at times I'm like, okay, this feels like just such a blatant ripoff of Star Trek, but at the same time, it feels more like Star Trek than most of those movies do. Like the most recent episode actually delved into today's issues. People's biggest critique with that third episode was that it spun it in such a weird way that
the Orville,
that it was kind of hard to determine like what is this issue actually applying. It was just weird. It basically took like gender and flipped it on its head in such a weird alien way that you kind of left the episode thinking like, I don't know how to feel about that. But people pointed out that this is the most like
Star Trek
type.
So compare just because we don't have a third party here who's actually watched it other than you, but that's what I would say. Most of Star Trek, from what I know about Star Trek, is most of this new Star Trek stuff isn't Star Trek. Like there's no, it's not like it's not like Next Gen.
It's very much like seeing the alien races, learning about the alien races, seeing all the cool technology, so would you say and then them interfering with different.
So is the Orville more Star Trek than Star Trek Discovery?
But see, like Discovery, I can't judge it based on the prologue because that's just setting everything up.
Okay.
The Discovery we don't even know what the Discovery looks like because we haven't seen that ship yet.
Okay.
It's totally just a prologue to set the stage.
Well, maybe they will be doing the same missions that
I will say that sometimes when the humor comes in, it's like
on the Orville.
Yeah, on the Orville. It feels a little. Some of it's like actually pretty funny. Like it's not over the top spoof. Like they play it like a real show, and then you just have characters kind of bantering. It has the actor who does Steve Smith and Family Guy. He's
American
talented.
Dad.
Does he sing in it?
Did I say Family Guy? American Dad. No.
Okay.
Does he sing
no,
in it?
he hasn't yet.
But that's my favorite part.
It was surprisingly engaging. And especially like being the third episode having to do with gender, I was like, oh gosh, like is this? But even though it was weird, I wasn't offended or anything. It was just kind of like, I don't want to spoil anything in case you watch it, but it's just like, okay, I guess that was weird, but I was more impressed that this is kind of like Star Trek, like.
But I can't stand CW type quality shows.
The CG is surprisingly decent.
Oh, okay.
Like I don't know. I'm just surprised that Seth MacFarlane actually has another hit. It's actually doing really well right now. The critics are kind of divided, but It's such a weird show. You got to check it out. Like,
is this a animated thing?
No, it's live action.
Oh, okay, I don't
totally
know
live action with CG, and
we can try watching it.
It doesn't look as expensive as Star Trek Discovery, but oh yeah, I don't know.
I ain't paying $15 a month to watch the episodes.
That's a good. That's a good. You can actually pay less than that if you want to watch commercials. There's actually that's one of the debates about Discovery. Like, people are like, oh, we only get to see this prologue, which isn't even representational of the actual show, and now they're putting it behind a paywall, and like a lot of people are upset about that. But I believe, like, even though I want access to all this entertainment for free, being in the entertainment industry, I feel if you see how expensive it looks, like, where is that money going to come from unless people actually subscribe to it?
I think it's different. Like, I don't mind paying for HBO just to watch Game of Thrones because I really like Game of Thrones,
right.
and I know that it's going to be good even when it's not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like that's
worth $15
a month.
This is a new a new show that we don't have any.
So in a couple months or a year, it'll be available on probably some of those platforms, and then people might like it.
Like, I like the Netflix stuff. Obviously, they have the most money, so they have the most shows. But I do Hulu because I don't want cable, and there's some shows that I don't care to buy each season of because I want to watch it at my own leisure. But other shows, I'll just buy on my own, and I'll just buy the whole season. And I wish you could do that with more of these ones that they want to. But they want you to in and on a monthly streaming service, because when Game of Thrones is over, I cancel my subscription.
And sometimes you're paying less because they air all in a month or something or two. So.
Yeah. Unless Westworld comes out, then
I wish. I don't know what else. CBS All Access. I have a week free right now. So.
What else? Yeah. Do they have any other?
So you should. Shows? I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked, but yeah, if you subscribe, like,
no.
But you can get a free week. So if you want to watch build up like a couple episodes and then subscribe, you can watch
Camille watch it because your family has TV or PlayStation View.
She watched the pilots because it was free.
The pilots are free.
She's not doing the CBS payment.
Okay. I didn't know if you.
So I think the third episode this Sunday will be, and the Orville just has new episodes Thursday, so their fourth one just came out, so you should be able to see 4 episodes tonight.
Oh yeah,
it came out last night. I don't know.
Oh, we didn't talk about. Have you been watching the new season of Harmon Quest?
I've watched the first 2 episodes.
Did you know there's a PlayStation app for VRV?
Yeah, I think actually I was watching it there. So you can actually Verve has some pretty good shows on it.
I think it's a Crunchyroll thing. It's like all mixed together now. So
now you can just which is great because now I can watch. I haven't finished Attack on Titan season 2. So
but yeah, it's cool. I like that show. I went to.
Have you seen your episode yet?
No, ours was at the end.
Oh, okay.
I went to one of the tapings because we're close to Hollywood. You can. If you listen to the Harmontown podcast, which I was last year, they talk about when they're doing live tapings of the Harmon Quest. I don't know if they're doing another season, but it was around this time last year in October. End of October I went, yeah. And I sat in on 2, and I'm in the audience, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not a very audience interactive show. They just use it because they want the laughs track and the cheering and stuff. It was fun.
It's pretty funny. I like my favorite character right now is the dragon. because he's not like he does a bunch of cool voices. It's just like his voice.
Yeah,
just
Spencer.
Him and the Goblin, and
Jeff Davis.
I like the what was what's her face from
last episode, the 3rd episode.
Yeah, with the she wasn't very good at it, but she had and then they kind of just like threw her character to the dragon or something. I can't remember. Like to the bad guys.
The first episode.
I can't remember the actress.
Episode.
Was it the first episode? I think it was the first one. And there's like the whole banter with the replacement goblin, like him being hurt. And
it's pretty good.
But she was actually really good because she was so bad at it. Like, it was funny the way they animated it.
Yeah, because she just talked about. Because if you don't know what Harmon Quest is, it's basically Dungeons and Dragons, except they're playing Pathfinder.
And it's all animated, so that adds like a whole nother level.
So it's them sitting around, like live action, like around a table, and the dungeon master Spencer just does all the rolls for them, and they just kind of make it. It's a very condensed version of Dungeons and Dragons. They don't use like a map or anything. It's all, thought up in the head.
It's pretty fun.
It's a great, cool format, and
we tried to do something similar, but
did we? We never streamed or anything.
No. We recorded a session or so, but other people do this stuff, but they don't like animate it. And it's just it's not very
animated.
It's not very interesting to me, but
because some of the humor is in like them saying it over the table in a microphone, and then the animators having fun with how they said it, and cutting it in a certain way.
It's like, I don't know if it's possible, but can my character like arch his eyebrow and like say this, and he has a look on his face that looks like
that he's really concerned, and the characters are mouthing,
or it's like the animators probably are really thanking us right now because everything is done through looks instead of speaking, so they don't have to animate lips. It's pretty enjoyable. And the animation is just good enough, but bad enough to be funny.
I think you can watch both seasons for free on VRV. If you don't want commercials, then you can pay.
If you out there don't know who Dan Harmon is, he's the writer on Community and one of the co-creators on Rick and Morty. So it's funny, and they always have a cast of comedians, and there's always a special guest every episode. So
yeah. When I went to the filming, it was the lady who played the Scarlet Witch in the Marvel movies. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Olsen, one of the Olsens.
And everyone says that, and I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And
it's the older sister.
The other guy is.
She's the younger sister. I think.
Or younger sister, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second episode I sat in on it had what's that? He was a guy that's on Comedy Bang Bang. He has like a beard, kind of long hair.
Jason something. I think.
Jason
Mantzoukas.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But
Scarlet Witch, she was kind of boring, but she was a comedian.
The regulars, the Goblin. Who's he?
Jeff Davis. I've been watching him since I was a kid on Whose Line.
Yeah, he's a Whose Line.
Oh yeah. And then his ex-wife, I think.
His ex-wife,
who's also a co-creator on Community or co-writer or something.
Yeah, she did. I don't remember.
She's funny. I like.
They still did it because they had just divorced back last year or earlier that year. I can't remember. Or the year before, because they came back. Because the first season they were married. That's probably why.
So we haven't spoke about Rick and Morty. You guys watching it?
Yeah.
I haven't watched the last one.
I really like that. Was one of my favorites this season.
It sucks. There's only one more episode left.
I know. Everyone's like
really
bummed.
I mean, all of them have been good. I think.
I'm trying to think of the worst one, and
it's but it's not about worse. It's more about like I feel like the Vindicators one. All of them they're all different.
I really like Vindicators one.
They're all good for a different reason, Like I don't have any critiques of like this is bad, like because it's just so enjoyable, and you can tell there's an overarching like theme that they're carrying through all the seasons now, and that's all that really matters. Even doesn't really matter what happens in an episode. It's like where are these characters going to go? Keeps you hooked, I think, and then of course all the funny stuff is what makes you want to watch it.
Right.
Sorry, I was just thinking about the Vindicators one. The best part of that one is when they're watching the instructional video by Drunk Rick. And Morty's like, what is this, some Saw shit? And Rick's like, no, of course not. And Drunk Rick's like, just like in Saw.
I like when he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt and he was like, you got to shoot some hoops and make it about Hawaii or something.
Make it about your shortcomings. I don't know.
There's like all the poop and fart humor mixed with like the sort of intelligent, witty humor and everything. It's such a rare show because like, it appeals to almost everyone.
Because here's the thing is when I look online, I'm like everyone's like Pickle Rick, and I'm like, come on, okay, they put that in there because they're placating to you.
When I saw the preview of that, the first teaser for Pickle Rick, I thought it was just supposed to be like asinine because I thought there's no way this is going to be.
I thought it was just a clip for the trailer. Right, I didn't think it was going to be an episode.
But like
I thought it was just supposed to be making fun of itself.
I feel like some people who like the show, they don't find it funny the same way like I do.
But that Pickle Rick episode was amazing. Yeah, like, why there's a Pickle Rick is hilarious.
But him saying I'm Pickle Rick isn't funny. It's in fact I hate that now because so many people are like
yeah, because so many people quote it now.
And I just know the creators. I just know that the creators are rolling their eyes and like saying, "Yes, here, eat your food, you audience." But then they just go off and do their own thing. And I feel like some people are tricked into watching Rick and Morty,
right?
Because they're showing up for haha, Pickle Rick, or something like that, something stupid. Yeah. I'm looking at the camera now just to make sure any of you are out there.
I think
then you're absorbing all the other humor that you probably aren't as inclined to watch, I guess.
Right. There's
you're probably right. You haven't been listening to Harmontown lately, have you?
No, I haven't listened for months because I've been so busy.
It's funny because like Dan Harmon has his ups and downs, his good weeks and his bad weeks. And I was listening to the most recent one. He like starts off kind of like, I'm in a better mood this week. I need to apologize for last week when I said I hated all of you. Like, you're talking to the audience.
I feel it's
there. I didn't even watch it.
Some of that surface level stuff, like
pretty much.
People's sense of humor differs, but if it gets them to watch the show, I'm okay with that because it has some great messages in it. And it's
I
really
think that's why it's a good show, because it's your show. If it has a niche audience, doesn't.
I'm not above Pickle Rick or the poop humor. I laughed. I mean, Pickle Rick. At first, I thought it was a joke, but then that they made a whole episode about it, I was like, this is going to be terrible. And I was like, this is a great episode. This is amazing.
My dad doesn't really watch. I mean, he's seen most of the episodes now, but he doesn't like sit down and like watch them all in order. But like, I've never heard him laugh harder than when he caught Pickle Rick on the TV the other day, and I was like, whoa.
I mean, the action scenes.
Like, he's on the floor.
I just like that, when I first started the first episode, I was like, is that no one else is watching this? Why is, like, back when it first started, and then it slowly
I couldn't believe the humor. Like,
I was like, it's going to get canceled.
I was laughing out loud. And consistently, every episode has that one-liner. Like, the most recent one, there's, like, so many that Rick has. Just, won't ruin them for Chelsea.
It's like, I don't know, it's not a similar show, but Axe Cop is...
whatever you say, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't know why I said that. Whatever, I'm going to own it. Whatever you say.
You remember Axe Cop, right? That was on Fox?
Axe Cop was pretty great.
But you see, that didn't appeal to anyone but, like, a very niche audience.
I mean, they still do the comics and stuff, but
it's so, obviously it doesn't have the legs like Rick and Morty does, but I feel like it's similar in that way that,
sure,
if they mixed in a different type of humor to appeal to other people, because that one, I think that's one of the funniest shows. The other one was, what was that one?
Axe Cop was all right.
What was it? Moonbeam?
I was a big fan of Moonbeam City.
Moonbeam City is pretty great.
I was disappointed it didn't get renewed.
Yeah. Because that one character, they quickly
Will
realized...
Forte's character.
They quickly realized he was the star of the show.
The second half of the season was, like, more about him because they realized how great he was.
I feel like it's kind of on the same page as BoJack, except not. I don't know. It feels like, because like Mr. Peanut Butter became like a fan favorite, and now he's like. Yeah, it was a good show. I like this weird art style, and
the first episode was kind of like but once they got into the season, like, there's amazing
so many great
episodes.
It's so many good.
That one with the VR, just so. I don't know, the animation mixed with everything. It's great.
It's funny,
and I feel like that's another cartoon that people won't watch.
Archer, I think, is kind of similar. Like, but Archer has a very specific type of humor, and
you have to really like people talking.
But it's really good. It's all about the chemistry in the room.
Yeah,
and it's
which one?
Archer, because it's all like it's a lot of it's like kind of improvised.
I apologize for having to answer business texts.
Archer's like one of those things that you really just need to watch it from season 1 and keep watching because it's so serialized.
There's a lot of backstory to it, and there's a lot of inside jokes like episode to episode, and you're like, and you're like, why? If you start
watching,
funny?
but it pays off. If you watch from season 1 up till now, it's like, it's good because the characters go on journeys, they change, it's great.
I'm very spotty on my Archer. I've seen
the most
season
recent
1 and I've seen the 2 most recent seasons.
That's the weird thing about Archer is it's not one of those you can just pick up any episode. Like, it's definitely like,
I mean, there's funny stuff in there, but
but you miss out on, it's definitely built as.
It's one of the shows. It has more than just the surface. It's more than just Archer screaming Lana.
Yeah,
I mean, that's hilarious.
I see that on Reddit.
I didn't even know that was a thing because I haven't seen
most of it. Or the Danger Zone, like that's another one.
There's a lot of good stuff.
I don't get any of the overused references, it kind of works in my favor.
I know what they're referencing, but I also don't. It's like it's the same thing with Rick and Morty. It's like there's the masses collectively agree this one thing is really funny, and you're like, no, it's not. There's more in the show that's funnier than that. That's just like that was just chuckle worthy. I feel like that's the way we're probably elitist. That's probably what we
I don't know.
Or we think we do. We're probably one of those.
My favorite
we're one of those
joke,
Rick and Morty fans.
I mean, I loved Rick and Morty. My favorite joke, which had me rolling, was when they're in it was season 1 where they're in the I guess it's kind of reality, virtual reality, and then there's the Pop-Tart coming out, or is it toast, or it's like I think it's a Pop-Tart coming out of his house that he lives in a toaster and he drives a toaster, and they're arguing about this can't be real life because why is this? And it's like, they just spent all this money in animation animating them debating it just. And then it was just a throwaway. That was it. You never saw those characters again, and it was just like
there's a lot of good stuff in season 1. I want to rewatch season 1. I mean, I still to this day quote from the very first pilot episode that you gotta put these up your butt, Morty. You gotta do it for Grandpa.
It's just so hilarious. Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
I mean, yeah, a lot of those are those characters.
What was the one before ABC's of Beth? Because we can talk about that one.
What?
That was Marty's Mind Blowers.
Yeah. So it was the replacement for interdimensional or
intergalactic cable.
Interdimensional cable.
Yeah,
interdimensional.
It was
cable,
pretty great.
So it was that instead of that.
It had some funny moments. I like the some would describe him as a smudge from a certain angle.
Yeah, no, I mean I love Rick and Morty, and I love watching the people put way too much thought into the theories and stuff. And I know that early on in like season 1, Dan Harmon said that they had like a secret, like a big thing about the show that they weren't going to tell fans, but kind of like
the fans have already just figured it out.
Kind of like drove the story or whatever.
But they said that no one will ever be right because they'll just change it.
Well, the thing is, they said they wanted to have like a secret that only the writers knew about, but they were never going to tell the fans, but then they said fans figured it out anyway, so now there is no secret. They said they scrapped that idea, and now there's no. They said now don't bother trying to figure out the mystery because there is no mystery.
They went a step further and said it was one of 2 theories.
Really?
So those theories are that Rick is not actually drinking; he's drinking those seeds from the first episode. So he's just constantly super smart because he keeps drinking that stuff. And the second one is that he's an older Morty or whatever, which is kind of weirder. But so one of those was one of the secrets.
That feels like the more obvious one of like what their secret was.
But I feel like something like that. Like
I never knew any of the theories because I don't care.
Now that they have the show and they're developing the characters more and stuff, and like they can create something else. It's kind of like Futurama, where when it ended, they had a nice like, oh, that was great, and then when they ended the last season, when it was renewed, like it paid off even more because they knew what the whole show was about, and then they made it loop around. If you haven't seen the last episode of Futurama, it's really great.
Is anyone
the very last one?
Yeah.
I'm one of those old school people who's only watched the original 4 seasons. I haven't watched the new seasons.
I can't wrap my brain around that last episode.
Futurama,
it's been a while,
but I never caught up
really
with the renewed stuff.
Is anyone like before we get on to Futurama, is anyone glad that Jerry's actually a part of the season? Like,
yeah,
he's the character you love to hate, like just because he fails so much.
Yeah,
I like the most recent episode too with his arc there, and the one at Rick and Jerry episode.
That was a good one.
Rick and Jerry adventure. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, it's such a quotable show. Like every 2 seconds in the show, it's quotable.
Yeah, there is.
But I think a lot of that is, I mean, the writing, but then also Justin doing all those voices, and he says it's easier for him to be able to talk back and forth between those characters that he does himself.
That one,
he can think of the funny.
The Citadel episode was really impressive because I think it was all him. There was one guest voice in the credits.
Yeah, wasn't it
Jeff Davis?
Jeff Davis, and he did the commercial, the Simple Rick voice.
The what's his name impression?
The Snow Dogs old guy impression.
Yeah.
Keep it getting
Snow Dogs.
Yeah, he's in Snow Dogs.
What's his name?
I know him.
There's other ones.
Oh,
he's in Snow Dogs.
It's not Jeff Bridges, right?
No, it's on the tip of my tongue. I know him from my childhood. The main thing I knew him from was Prancer.
Wait,
anyone remember that movie?
Is that the guy from?
It's what's his name?
White guy with mustache.
It's not from a Hunger Games guy, right?
No.
It's not.
No,
Chris Elliott. Not Chris Elliott. What am I thinking of?
Yeah, is that right?
No, Chris Elliott's the guy from. What am I thinking
Samuel Elliott.
Samuel.
Sam Elliott.
Yeah, Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott. Yeah.
That's who it. That's
Chris Elliott's. What's his name?
No, it's Sam Elliott. He did the Sam Elliott impression.
It was a pretty good episode. Well, I like that they called it the Rick Lantis Adventure, and it's just like a total like red herring.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I like Cop Morty going to the street Morty. He's like he changes the way he talks. Like, oh jeez.
Yeah, all Jesus. I got that joke. When the cop
geez.
Morty is talking to the like,
but I got to do my job.
The like street Mortys.
Yeah.
And he's like peppering in the Jesus. It's like everything he says to them. I got the joke.
What was the joke?
I don't know, like
Wait,
slang.
the joke is that the Mortys have their own way of talking.
Yeah, and the Morty cop is like, you know, one of them.
I didn't know it was a joke. I just thought. I guess it was just detail.
I took it as a joke. On like.
Well, yeah, it's a joke about.
Why does that happen to me all the time? I'm like, did you get the joke? I'm like, yeah, okay, so it's a joke.
Wait, I mean, it's funny. It was. You understand?
Yeah,
why
it was
it's funny, right?
But I guess for me, I guess
he's trying to butter up the Mortys by being more Morty.
Well, I always think that I'm left out, but I'm like, no, I got that. I'm waiting for the joke.
It was just funny. We're just
recollecting
that it was hilarious.
Every time I hear the word joke,
because he wasn't saying "aw geez" when he was talking to the Rick cop, but when he's talking to the other Mortys on the street,
it's supposed to be me.
"Aw geez this" and "aw geez that."
Because something funny isn't necessarily a joke.
Yeah.
To me, anyways. Maybe
what other good episodes were there this season? I really liked. I liked the Bennettarium one. Just
all of them. There was no bad one.
I'm trying to think like which one did I kind of just be like meh. Maybe Morty's Mind Blowers, but it was still pretty decent. Like it had a lot of good sketches in there.
Yeah.
I guess now that we've talked about Rick and Morty for a long time, sure there's a million podcasts out there talking about this. I think today's International Podcast Day.
It's also International Coffee Day.
I like the podcast.
Where's my
coffee? I had tea
I
on
don't
coffee
really
day.
like coffee.
That's cool.
How long have we been going?
It's, you know, I never
45 minutes.
I never asked Twitter for
Well,
questions because I can't.
Let's go 15 more minutes, and if you want, you can ask the 3 people in the live stream chat if they.
Or you can because you just did.
Oh, no, you do it. Oh, and ask them.
Done.
We'll take questions from the 4 people there, and then we'll read them. And
There's 12
none of these
users.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, and for my Twitter app updated and locked me out of all my linked accounts.
Me too.
So I'm like, I was gonna post to Bennettarium.
I couldn't post to
Twitter,
Bennettarium. I couldn't post to Steam Powered Giraffe.
You know how many?
Gone.
Yeah, because when you're a business, you have 2-step authentication, and the passwords always change. Like
I'm too lazy.
You can't remember it.
You like David, give me all the codes so I can get back in.
So you can't. It's like if you get logged out, you're never like.
I think there might be some stream issues.
Why is someone saying something?
Yes.
Well, I just was wondering that if we're gonna pay. Well, with you or I wouldn't worry. It's not you, but like are people in the chat saying there's stream issues? Mm-hmm. I wish I would have known that.
I didn't know until just now.
I wanted someone to watch the chat.
Sorry.
It's too late now. Maybe there's some dropped frames. That's the only thing I can think of.
We lost audio.
A long time ago?
I don't know. It froze for some of them.
Well, we'll see if Vimeo is still receiving it, or if it's on this end.
It happened like 1 or 2 minutes ago.
So there's still no audio right now? I don't know why we're waiting in the chat. This is going to waste the video, and then the people watching.
All right,
Yeah.
well...
We have the audio, so if that's it, then whatever, I'll see it. I'm sure it's because I don't know, because Vimeo just launched this Vimeo Live today, and maybe there's some hiccups. Guess we'll find out. I'm certainly not watching the episode all the way through to check any hiccups. So if any of you want to send us information about where the stream went wrong, I can look into it. At least we have the audio saved. I didn't save the video this time because I was like, Vimeo will work. But the video will be up on later. Okay, I guess we can cut it short then.
Yeah.
Unless we can't talk about anything with Steam Powered Giraffe.
No.
Our next upcoming show we can't even talk about.
We can talk about some products we got. Update on the vinyls.
That's pretty much it. That's the only one I'm comfortable talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Not the other thing that you just...
No, because...
Okay. Well, so, we got what are they? The test
pressings.
Test pressings of the vinyls, and the audio quality is not representational of the final product, but one step closer.
Yeah, we didn't notice any skips or anything weird, so...
We're considering maybe putting them up for sale on the Engineer-eteers site, because there's only 4 of them, and they're not good for listening, but we could like sign them and
maybe if someone wants.
And you'll have a little piece of history for our first record.
I'm sure someone asked, or I think I saw it on Instagram. Some people were saying that too, like, "Oh, you should sell these." Because
are you just gonna sell them or do like an auction?
I think we'll put it up for Engineer-eteers to buy.
And if no one buys them there, then we'll move it to somewhere else.
And like, limit one per person.
There's only 4, so yeah.
Yeah.
If you're an Engineer-eteer, subscribe to our newsletter and all that, or whatever. And
we've done that before. When we sold some excess metal badges that we got back from the UK with. So every once in a while, we'll put up a product.
Exclusive items. And you guys
not too often. We've only done it once, some other time. But
also pre-orders and stuff sometimes when there's...
Oh, there's usually like a code or something.
Yeah.
I think the code still works on the vinyl. I'm not sure. I can't remember if I said, only a certain amount of time. I don't remember.
Well, I hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll probably do another podcast.
Yeah, we
want to
get back into doing this every week.
I feel like we're still recovering from our big old tour.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's still a lot to do every day, and we haven't even unpacked some of the merchandise we took with us, and there's still a lot going on, and we're prepping for the next shows. Our second show that comes up next, the first one we can't talk about yet, but we will soon, is going to be in November, and then another one in December. So
November is Barstow,
and then December Bakersfield. And just like we said last stream, Michael Reed will be at those shows with us. Those aren't until November, so we can talk about them now, but it's in the future. But yeah, we'll have another show before. We'll probably have 3 shows by the end of the year, and maybe some live streams, but who knows?
Was there any questions? There probably wasn't. No.
Why isn't stream working? Audio's not working.
Well, I think most people lost audio a couple minutes ago, but we did get one question. If you had to be a Starfleet officer, what rank, duty, and race would you be?
Like from what universe? From
Star Trek?
I don't know all the races in Star Trek.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not a Star Trekkie.
I don't know enough. Sorry.
I wouldn't want to like be an alien.
Captain?
But
well, can I be? I guess.
I guess I'd be a science officer because I wouldn't be command. I wouldn't be security. I wouldn't be engineering.
I don't know what I'd be good at.
Science would be cool. Like Spock was a science officer.
I guess I don't want to.
I'd be one of those people like deep within the ship that dies when they like that I'm just a passenger or something. Like, like I'm just like a family member of one of those.
I think I'll stay human.
Since I don't have any of those skills now, even like I don't even know, like, because it's in the future. You don't know, your skills nowadays would be worthless.
Yeah.
Basically, you don't know how to repair a starship or work a translocator. What are those called?
Trying to think of my favorite Star Trek races. There's a lot of cool ones. I'm a big fan of the Cardassians, but they're not part of the Federation.
Honest Trailers already made that joke yesterday.
Everyone makes that joke.
Well, I'm going to make it again. Kardashians. You know what? I really like the new Klingons. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Interesting.
They're really cool looking.
So are they, is it retconned or something, or?
They need to leave the Klingons alone.
You got to ask Camille about that. There's a whole...
She's not happy. I know that much.
I'm happy.
She thinks they need to stop messing and changing the Klingons every time they reboot Star Trek.
I like it. I like them.
But
they're awesome.
Does it make sense with next gen and the original series? Do they make it all work?
Yeah, is it connected to the whole like genetic engineering botching?
It's all that stuff.
Okay.
So does that mean we see next gen Klingons?
There's different Klingons and stuff. Like it just
it's how they're doing it. And
it doesn't matter.
Well, maybe
if you like a certain look, just like that look. They look different this time.
I think it'd be fun to be a Klingon lady. They're always really so cool in like Next Gen and Deep Space Nine. There's a lot of just like badass female Klingon warrior characters.
Yeah, and especially in this one too. Even though they're not. Yeah, you should watch it. The costuming is amazing in it. It's amazing. Looks like you're watching like a Broadway show or something.
I just want one with a new captain's catchphrase. What was Lieutenant Janeway's catchphrase? Janeway? Yeah. Because I didn't watch that one as much.
I don't know what her catchphrase is.
I don't know, but she loves coffee. And there's a lot of coffee jokes.
All of them have a catchphrase, right? It's make it so from
that's Picard.
And then
I don't know, Cisco didn't really have one either.
What's the Shatner's to Infinity and Beyond or whatever?
What? No, I don't think
they all do.
Engage.
Engage was also...
That's not a catchphrase. It's just something that you have to
Yeah, that's just something you said.
Make it so.
Make
Come
it
on.
so.
And so wait, maybe.
No, I mean, they didn't
You know, some
have
people have already
catchphrases.
stopped because they thought the podcast ended, and they're like, "Oh, okay, I guess I'll stop this podcast now." And there's all these gems right at the end.
Why did they stop?
Because we said we were gonna stop. And
Well,
some
we didn't.
people will be like, "Okay, I'll turn this off. I don't need to hear them wrap it up." But our wrapping it up actually had like more interesting stuff in it.
I'm sure the 20 people who watched the podcast listen or watched, they're not gonna.
We had so many fans at Lockport and in our tour that said they were huge fans of the podcast.
But it pales into comparison to Steam Powered Giraffe. That's why it's weird to me. It's like, well, no, yeah, of course, a few people watch.
I
and
mean,
listen.
it's fun to do as long as we can talk more about Warhammer and stuff.
I mean, it's just because we don't do any Steam Powered Giraffe separate live streams anymore. I feel like that's why we should throw in the shows and stuff. But yeah, we usually end up talking about VR. Like remember last year all the rage was VR,
joke.
and I haven't even plugged in my VR headset in months. I did yesterday just to make sure it worked. I'm like, yep, still works. No new games. I'm waiting for those. Fallout would be cool, and that's like an actual game. I can't wait till an actual game comes out.
Whatever you say, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Red Dead 2 trailer dropped.
Oh,
Still
why
no
don't we talk
gameplay.
about that? Yeah,
I'm not surprised. The
Did
people
you
I
watch
know
it?
working on it. No, it's hell working on a game. It's a lot of work.
it looks amazing though. Like,
I want multiplayer.
have you seen it?
No.
Oh,
I want MMO Cowboys though.
yeah, and there's definitely Red Dead Online, but it looks like
That's all I'm gonna
this
play.
Single player is
multiplayer will be fun, but I'm still all
Oh,
about
yeah, the
single player.
campaign.
Like that.
That's
that
what you play
one
Rockstar
post
for,
I
yeah.
showed you a while ago. Like, stop making everything multiplayer. I don't have friends, you assholes. Like, that's kind of the boat I'm in. Like, multiplayer will be fun, but
'Cause,
I'm
I mean, we did
still all
GTA
about
Online a little
like
bit, but-
sitting down, relaxing at night, and playing a single player game. That's still what I'm
If Red Dead
mostly into.
If Red Dead Online is as expansive as Grand Theft Auto Online, I think it'll be fun to play. Except the only thing I don't like about GTA Online is how grindy it is, and it's just one of those games where it's like, don't forget to buy a shark card because you're not going to actually put all thousands of hours into this game, are you? Just buy a shark card, and I hate that because that's kind of how all those MMOs kind of do it too. Those free to play ones, like.
Yeah.
Sure, you can spend 1,000 hours and try to upgrade your gear, but you're not going to. So
Did you ever buy a yacht?
No, you would have to spend hundreds of dollars in real money to actually buy it,
My
or you have to
God.
grind in the game, and I can't. And that's
I
like
just don't know who is
I
doing that.
I swam to someone's yacht and like walked around and acted like it was mine.
But apparently, even when you buy it, like you can't even drive it. Apparently, you can teleport it to a new location, which is kind of weird. But I mean, it makes sense because they made it like a gameplay feature to like, so you can like people can try to attack your yacht. But I don't know. I would feel like if you spent that much money on it. I mean, I did some of the stuff, buying a company and stuff, and it was. It's fun for a while.
Never really got into it.
But it was Cowboys.
It's fun. Yeah, if it was Cowboys, I'd definitely check it out.
But yeah, that campaign seems like you're actually it's a prequel, and you're playing the bad guys, the something van gang, which turns out.
So the game's a
turns
prequel.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it turns into. So
Well, I guess that makes sense because the
last one was
like
end
the end of the West. I just hope they come out with like some sort of weird expansion like the zombie one.
That was really great, especially after beating the game and then.
I'm sure they're
wanting
going to. They're going to come out with like spooky stuff and all this stuff for the multiplayer at least.
Yeah, I mean it's all going to be multiplayer. Like they scrapped all the single player stuff for Grand Theft Auto 5 when online became so popular, and they're like, well, we're not doing the single player stuff anymore, and now it's all multiplayer. To the degree where they don't even put the vehicles that they've given multiplayer into single player anymore. The first few they did. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5's story was great and all, but it just doesn't appeal to me, like modern day gangsters and stuff like that. I mean, it's all well done. It's super well done. It's like a movie. But modern day stuff isn't fun to me.
Yeah.
I like fantastic.
I want to be in a Western.
That's the
That
future.
sounds fun.
Unless you're Mass Effect Andromeda.
I want to ride my horse up to a saloon, get off, and get some whiskey, and I don't know, play the piano, and then I don't know, ride my horse into a building, or
and
something.
then buy some Bronco Bucks for for $99.
I'm sure there's gonna be cool
And then
features.
buy a gold
like
stagecoach.
buy a train, or
Yeah, it's like
you
writes itself.
if you flip your horse, it's gonna blow up.
There were so many great bugs in the first Red Dead. Like when people's chairs would disappear, the guy with his feet up on the table, like hanging there. There's no chair under him. He's just
Yeah.
floating.
I'm sure there'll be plenty, but you gotta get it early so you can see all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get it early
before they patch that.
No, because I mean, Grand Theft Auto didn't have as many bugs, but like it's just the way that it like the game interacts. Like you see so many gifs on Reddit where like a car like flips over and stuff, and like and a door like slides, and then a cop like walks onto it and rides it for you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just like just because there's so much physics and stuff in the game, like weird stuff like that happens.
It doesn't make the game any less fun.
Or like there's a tow truck, and then like and there's a cop car on top of it, and then cops get out and like they're towing it, and they shoot the driver. Like there's some good, probably just because the game is procedurally generated or something with the characters. That's why there was the Cougar Man and stuff from
Cougar Man.
Small stuff.
Yeah.
Well, let's play this outro, and I'll go see if the stream broke or what happened.
Yeah. I don't know. I have video, no audio though.
Thanks, Vimeo. I'll be sure to complain to them. It's a podcast from Steam Powered Giraffe. It was the Bennettarium. Oh, we all like Rick and Morty on the Bennettarium. Oh, girl, it's the Bennettarium, and we'll see you next week. Maybe.
Whatever you say, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Sorry for anyone who lost audio. I'm sure
Vimeo will say, "Oh, it's our first week," and we're like, "Yeah, but I paid you money."
See y'all.